the time has come for the lion to tell his own story. Yeah, the one them called Celestial I represent for the mighty lion voice. And this a shook up your planet tectonic. As me sip up my roots and tectonic. And you can't make me jump nor get panic. Have the engine a run like mechanic. Room.
Amina, the time has come for the lioness to tell our own story. No surrender, no retreat, we are Jaja soldier. Rougher than the streets, tougher than a boulder. Bigging up Lion's voice. Now put it, I Jalifa said that.
So again, when we are talking about politics and do Rastafari deal with politics, I would say we have to deal with politics. And the other thing I want to talk about is as we return home to the continent, we have to be careful not to get pulled into the tribal politics. We have to represent ourselves as being for the nation, and we support certain policies, the building of, eco-friendly infrastructure. You know what I mean? Focusing on decentralized power generation, certain things that we champion, and then we identify candidates or ones who have this within their platform, and we can support these candidates. That's how I should be, and let both sides come and court the Rastafari vote, so that they know that we are a change for good, and let them know that even if the other side win, we still will work with them to achieve the goals. So we're seen as a positive platform for positive development. That is how we should be known, not partisan. We don't want to be caught up on one side or the other. As African people, we're prone to tribalism. So we have to be very careful not to get embroiled in any tribal conflicts where we take a side, this side to the other. If anything, we should be a mediating force on the continent. So
Lion voice, tell them that's the people first choice. Lion voice, make the lioness them feel nice. Lion voice, with the lion cubs we sacrifice. Lion voice, got to show the people them the life. Lion voice. Yeah, set tunes of judgment to judgment. Tunes of the house of the great King David. I shall pray for the peace of Ethiopia. Robber Babylon a spy, Babylon a informer. Have a plan fi lock up all the youths them pan the corner. Me have a plan fi take the youths and move to Ghana. Build up Africa, link up with the farmers. Me a pre-peace more than the Dalai Lama. Can't trick the bingy man, even with Obama. How many youths them lock up for marijuana? How many shut up yo, who cause the drama? Hammer Gideon, spy verse spy, watch and peep and pure lie. TV program tap into Wi-Fi, Snapchat, Instagram, they put drones in the sky. That's why you gotta use your third eye. Hear the Most High, who made the birds them fly. The word, the sound, the powers inside. None of them punk can destroy the tribe, yo. Kendrick Lamar say, don't kill my vibe. Bingy man them down a yard say, earthquake and landslide. Babylon a groom, don't want no bride. Sit up in a room, them a plan and a hide. Babylon cruel, them want fi rule and divide. In a the school, them got the youths hypnotized. Evil and the wicked man, them soon collide. None of them can stop the sweeping tide, yo. Babylon a spy, Babylon a inform.
greetings in that divine name of His Imperial Majesty, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Glory and honor in the name of his chosen queen, Empress was Zero Menen. My name is Kwasi Bansu, aka the DEJAZMATCH Kwasi, aka Ras Kwasi, aka the Reading Ras, aka the Pan-African Happy Man, a creative industry attorney. I'm an author, I'm an artist, I'm an actionist, and right now I am the host of the Lion's Voice. Welcome to the Lion Voice, and welcome to the Lion Voice Network, where the lions are telling our own story. Blessings to everyone. If this is your first time on the platform, we'd like to say welcome. We continue our growth. We are growing rapidly, approaching 4,000 subscribers. We are humbled by the interest, the support, the comments, the DMs, the phone call, the outreach. Everything is really satisfying as a content creator. And I just want to say, give thanks. Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media is rising. Today, I want to touch a topic that came up in our last live. Every Wednesday, we go live, Lion Talk Live, fastest growing Rastafari show on the internet. You can check us out every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We had
In
McConnell.
terms of talk to us about Mengistu, and who.
Okay, well, let's go to the next photo, because after they spoke with him, remember they said they're going to take him somewhere. So we all know the infamous picture where they carted him off in a blue buggy.
Yes, bring up the Volkswagen there. Famous picture.
Okay, so after they spoke with him inside, they brought him out into this Volkswagen, and they took him to the 4th Division headquarters, and then later on they took him to the Gibby, because he used to. This is from the Jubilee Palace. So this picture is infamous, and it's very strange, because even the people that were that's supposed to be protecting him, the Imperial Guards, they are with their hands behind their back. So this is insubordination, treason, And as he drove away, the progressives, as they were labeled, was calling him labor. That means thief. So
we were talking about the disappearance of His Imperial Majesty, the rise of the Derg, and one of our Lion Pride in the comments, Lion Pride from out of California, big up yourself, King, asked the question, what do Rastafari say about politics?
I have a question here. As Rastafari, where do we stand in politics? I want to answer that question, McConnell.
Well, Rastafari, where they stand in politics. His Majesty answered the question a long time. He said, democracy and republic, what do they signify? They're all forms of government. I personally think the Ethiopian Constitution is the best political document for the diaspora in general. Because if you read the articles, it says Ethiopian subjects not only in Ethiopia, but in foreign territories. So there's the concept of empire, like England. England, through its language, because we speak in English, we become part of the empire. So my political views is that the emperor, in his constitution, he left a body, which is the Crown Council, for handle political affairs. So I would think that there's the highest tier amongst people of this endeavor and persuasion in order to advance the political idea, which is the constitutional monarchy, which the draft constitution, the new one.
Politics, and that it caught our attention because in America we are in politics season. Everything is politics. All of the things that you see and the influences are all about politics. And this is a topic I think is very important for our family to openly address. So I want to take today's episode to talk about Rastafari and politics. Should Rastafari be political? Should we engage in politics? What is our political stand? Do we have a political party? We want to touch all of these topics in today's episode. I think it's so crucial. And to set the tone, we have to start with Kadamawi Haile Selassie I, his speech to the America, to the both, a joint session of Congress 1954, very famous speech. If you have not read it, it's online. Big up the Lion of Judah Society. They have a PDF copy of the selected speeches online. You can read it from there. It's searchable. It makes I and I work so much simpler. So big up as the reading Ras. Big up Lion of Judah Society. But read that speech to Congress. It's something you have to read.
All right. So this is an excerpt from His Majesty's speech to Congress that was given in his visit 1954. This is the first visit of an African head of state to the United States. First address of an African head of state to the both houses of Congress. So very important in the history of global geopolitics. But His Majesty says this as part of his speech. He says, "Of what interest is it to you then? You may well ask that I, the head of what must be for you a small and remote country, should appear before you in the midst of your deliberations. I do not take it upon myself to point out why Ethiopia is important to the United States. That you can best judge for yourselves, but rather to explain to you with brevity the circumstances which make Ethiopia a significant factor in world politics. Since so much of world politics is today influenced by the decisions which you, members of Congress, reach here in these halls, it is perhaps not unimportant that I set out these considerations for you." So you can hear the emphasis on Ethiopia's being a significant factor in world politics, and then also stating how the United States influences so much of world politics. So His Majesty is showing us clearly that politics is something that had to be addressed. And when he comes to the political center of the world, he's making it very clear in political terms, because he didn't really go straight spiritual or straight economic, even though all of these things are referenced in the speech. But he starts off by setting the landscape in terms of the politics.
And the speech is really explaining Ethiopia's political importance to the United States of America, who he acknowledges a phenomenon in the annals of world history. And he's explaining in detail some of the reasons why Ethiopia, as a smaller nation, is politically significant on the world stage. So I'm telling the item up front where we land is that politics is a part of reality. We have to engage in politics. Politics are important on all levels. However, this is where the distinction lies. I believe that as Rastafari, we must take the stance of being non-aligned. And we also have speeches from His Majesty's speech to the non-aligned nation, the famous conference in Bandung. So I think these principles on the global stage is something that we should apply as Rastafari on the local, national, international stage, meaning we acknowledge politics. There was a time when someone would say, "Bun politics, we not deal with politics." We can't afford to hold that position. I don't think it's a tenable position, because politics impacts, every aspect of your life once you live in a society. That's where the laws come from. That's the decision makers that impact the judiciary, the legislative, all of that, the executive, all of that is impacted by politics. So the non-aligned, what does that translate to? That translates into being independent. So even though I must engage in politics, I should never, as Rastafari, identify as Democrat or Republican or identify as JLP or PNP. I have to be independent. Now, as individuals are free to vote with their conscience, but as a collective block, and big up Dr. Claude Anderson, who talks about powernomics and the importance of establishing an economic base, and then before you engage in any political enterprise, knowing how the political system works around the world. And I would say I need to do the same thing, is to develop our economic base, and as a bloc, I can exert leverage on the parties to execute the programs and projects that we would like to see get done. And regardless of who wins, I would still work with the power structure to implement projects and programs that benefit the people, the uprising. So in that way, I stay neutral, non-aligned, but at the same time, we still exert influence and impact wherever we are, because we have built that economic base. And that leads to the second part of what we want to talk about, because we can't talk about politics and we don't talk about the money part. We cannot talk about politics and we don't talk about the money, the economic base to exert the power. Without the money part and that economic base, you have no talk in the political sphere. And that is where we're lacking. Marching, seeking charity, writing letters does not get anything done. Money talks in politics, and when they know you can impact the bottom line of the nation. And that's where I have to move as Rastafari, building our independent businesses. And one of the things that we're doing here on the Lion Voice, you see, we're highlighting Rastafari businesses. We're going to be highlighting a Rastafari business in Kingston, new types of content, the It's Vegan Ital Restaurant. We have a special episode launching Monday, so stay tuned for that. Exclusive content, but these are the things that are necessary now, is to build our business class in terms of ones who are owning businesses, so that we can employ other Rastafari people, we can employ our youths in businesses. We have to create the Rastafari ecosystem. Another thing that I doing is the creative ecosystem model. The item here, I talk about it. If you're on this platform, you're witnessing I'm on building out my own creative ecosystem model. As you can see with the growth of the channel, that it's bearing fruit, and that's because we're approaching it from a scientific, very methodical approach. And I want to be able to share that. You can book your consultations on the website if you want assistance building out your model. You can download a free outline of what a creative ecosystem, a basic creative ecosystem outline looks like on my website. But that is what we have to be engaged in right now, is building our economic strength, coming together so that we can exert that political power as Rastafari people. So crucial. And this leads Iman to big up the Lion Pride. Who is the Lion Pride? If you subscribe, you're part of the Lion Pride. And the Lion Pride again is approaching 4,000 people. But that's only one aspect of the ecosystem model that we're building. The engine of the ecosystem is the Lion Pride on Patreon. And big up all of the Lion Pride on Patreon. We're down to 12 Fire Angels. And I want to big up the consistent ones who are just quietly in there month after month. Them just know say they are supporting the uprising of the channel. We have ones that come and go. Those ones we give thanks to anyone who's contributed even $1. We overstand. Listen, life is real. Life is happening. Life is lifing, as the young people would say. So we overstand when ones are not able to continue on the Lion Voice Patreon. However, I want to big up Sister Joan just joined Lion Pride on Patreon. Every time I look and I see one's not renewed, you get a little sad that you're losing a one because you don't know what a one is going through. But the joy, His Majesty always send the joy because I know ones and ones are always coming through. We were up to 18. Now we're down to 12, but we're going to continue. And this is, as a content creator, part of what we talk about. You have to have confidence in your vision, and people will come. The right people, the like minds will come. Things will shift. There will be what's known in the business as churn, where people come in, come out, jump in, jump out. That's part of the ecosystem as well. Those foundation, like-minded ones that they're with you to see this vision manifest. And our vision is Rastafari self-reliant media infrastructure, content infrastructure, where we are creating our own films, our own movies, our own cartoons, our own documentaries, just content that's catered to a Rastafari global audience. That's what we're doing here on the Lion Voice Network. Of course, it will also cater to a pan-African audience. That's what we're doing here. And for those who see that vision and want to see that and value that, we are using the crowdfunding model, which if you want to stay independent, it has to be crowdfunding. As the subscribers grow and the Lion Pride grow, engagement continues to grow, I'll be able to go to bigger sponsors to sponsor and to become. But if I rely on that model, then those sponsors, if they don't like what I blocking or what I saying, then they can withdraw that sponsorship. And it, particularly if you're a larger company scale, you have employees, and that funding is withdrawn, that leave you in a bind. If the audience is funding, it's much, yes, ones will come and go, but you're not relying on any one individual contribution. The $5, the $10. I thoroughly, am passionate about that's the way forward. And it just so happens that it's based on a principle of collective security, which is what His Majesty brought to the entire world. The security is in the people. The people have the power. Direct to consumer is the future for all business. And that is what the internet, I think, has risen to do, is to be able to give us that ability to connect direct to the consumer. So if you love Rastafari, independent, non-aligned media, big up everyone who has been rocking with I. If you and before I go any further, let's just highlight the comment of the strong right here.
All right. The comment of the strong goes to Square Boy Movements. He says, blessings, brother. All praises to the Most High, Jah Rastafari. This is my new channel. I'm trying to start help with the revolution. So big up yourself, Square Boy Movement. This is one of our new subscribers. We have over 700 in the last 28 days. So it is a revolution. This is the Rastafari resistance. We are curating an audience of like minds, an audience that loves His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie I, Empress Menen, who loves Pan-African movement, who wants to see Africa unite, who wants to see Rastafari live up to the great ideals of Kadamawi Haile Selassie I, who wants to see a standard. So big up all of the Lion Pride. And the only thing I would say to Square Boy Movements is let us know where you are commenting from. I'm asking all the Lion Pride, when you comment, just let us know where you're commenting from so that the Lion Pride can see where we are across this great planet. We are the Lion Pride and we are getting ready to roar. This is a movement we are building, and we are building steam. So just let us know where you're from. But the comment that is strong goes to Square Boy Movements. Again, big up yourself, Square Boy Movements. It's
Mighty. So, Rastafari, independent media, if you value it, $5, $10, $25, join us in the Patreon. We're building something special here, and it's not just I. When you see I blocking sound and thing here, know that it's the Lion Pride on Patreon that's supporting I and I. Also, have to big up Ubuntu, Lion Pride. Those are ones who may not do the every strong, but they've given a contribution over $50 US to the platform. So big up the Ubuntu, Lion Pride, love whatever contributions that the item can give. We are thankful. This is how we stay independent. And again, politics, the politicians that are independent, there are few of them. That's how they rely on the smaller donations. However, brethren and sistren can afford a $5 here or $10 here, because we find it in our daily life to get little things. So, and I have to be willing to sacrifice to fund our liberation. And if we're looking at it any other way, then that is it. Now, I have to be transparent. I'm approaching a potential failure, which is I set a goal of September 11th, having 100 people in the Patreon. I set that from last year. As a matter of fact, it started at 1,000 people in the Patreon. I was reaching for the sky, say if me reach, the sky, then I was reaching for the stars rather, and say if I reach the sky, we still a fly. We don't even reach the sky, we just jump with 12 fire angels. But we give thanks. However, we're not going to stop pushing. I don't mind failing in front of the global Rastafari family if it will encourage other brethren and sistren to follow their passion, to follow their purpose, to strive, to rise up. Because I think a lot of us, we worried about what people are going to say. I put myself out there, they're going to talk about I. I know enough ones talk about I. And guess what? I can't do nothing about that. All I can do is trod I and I trod. And when I do that, I see the results and give thanks that we have built a track record over the years, because we didn't listen to what others say, but we consistently put in the work, put in the reps, show up, be consistent. It's not easy, but we have done it. So that is the way forward. That is the path to victory. So again, when we are talking about politics and do Rastafari deal with politics, I would say we have to deal with politics. And the other thing I want to talk about is, as we return home to the continent, we have to be careful not to get pulled into the tribal politics. We have to represent ourselves as being for the nation, and we support certain policies, the building of eco-friendly infrastructure, focusing on decentralized power generation, certain things that we champion, and then we identify candidates or ones who have this within their platform, and we can support these candidates. That's how I and I should be, and let both sides come on court. the Rastafari vote, so that they know that we are change for good, and let them know that even if the other side win, we still will work with them to achieve the goals. So we're seen as a positive platform for positive development. That is how we should be known, not partisan. We don't want to be caught up on one side or the other. As African people, we're prone to tribalism. So we have to be very careful not to get embroiled in any tribal conflicts where we take a side, this side to the other. If anything, we should be a mediating force on the continent. So the answer, again, does Rastafari deal with politics? In H.I.M estimation, the answer is yes, based on His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, emphasizing Ethiopia's role in global politics. And I extrapolate from that that this is something that I must pay attention to. And if it's global, then it's national, then it's local. All of these levels apply to I because it's just scaling. The principle remains the same. We can apply it down to the micro level. So we have to deal with politics, but we have to be mature. And number one is about dealing with economics, building that economic base, as we learned from our elder, Dr. Claude Anderson in Powernomics. And building that economic base requires us to circulate that dollar. It applies us to implement collective security, not just as a slogan, but as a liberty. Are the item supporting? If you forget the DEJAZMATCH Kwasi, are you spending your money, your dollars, with other Rastafari businesses or Pan-African businesses? That's the question. I will leave the item today. Drop a comment, let I know if it makes sense. Collective security, we are charting the path to victory now. I don't talk about the world geopolitics that's happening. Let Iman know if you want I to do a show on Patreon where we can get into the in-depth of what's happening in the world today and the politics. I can't do it on YouTube because I'll get striked if we really get into too much truth about what's happening. But if ones want to go deep, let I know, because I would love to do that behind the paywall and on the Patreon, so it's private, with like-minded ones. So let I know if the item want that in the comments. Let I know what the item thoughts are on politics, if I should deal with politics or just remove ourselves completely, don't vote, don't do anything. Let I know the item thoughts, but I thoughts are, yes, we must deal with the politics. We should do it as a block, and we should do it again based on the policy and not any particular party. Let both parties or all parties work for the Rastafari vote based on the positive things that they're doing for themselves and for the planet. We are the force for change, for the positive good, and Mecca and I leverage that moral authority and power that we've been bestowed with by His Imperial Majesty Kadamawi Haile Selassie I. These are our thoughts. Big up again all of the new Lion Pride. Subscribe, click the notification bell. Make sure you comment. Kenya, again, the item are number one on the analytics. I have not seen one comment say I'm tuning in from Kenya. Please, until I see that, don't believe say it real. I go and believe say YouTuber try trick me. If you're watching from Kenya, Nairobi family, tune in. Let me feel the love, let me feel the energy, because it's saying that almost 1/3 of the views are coming from Kenya. So I want to feel, if you're not Rastafari, don't feel no way, family. This is a love center. You don't have to be Rastafari to support Rastafari and independent, non-aligned media. I'm not Arab, I watch Al Jazeera. I'm not a British man, I watch BBC, our PBS, all of these channels we've been watching and supporting with our views for years. and we're not from these. So you don't have to be of that. If you're just interested in the uprising, you want to see what's going on, then you're at the right place, because we're going to continue to bring premium Rastafari centered Pan-African content. Why? Because the time has come for the lions to tell our own story. And this is the Lion's Voice.
Lion voice. Yeah. Set tunes of judgment to judgment. Tunes of the house of the great King David. I shall pray for the peace of Ethiopia. Robber Babylon a spy, Babylon a informer. Have a plan for lock up all the youths them pan the corner. Me have a plan for take the youths and move to Ghana. Build up Africa, link up with the farmers. Me a pre-peace more than the Dalai Lama. Can't trick the bingy man, even with Obama. How many youths them lock up for marijuana? How many shut up yo, who cause the drama? I'm a Gideon, spy verse spy. Watch and peep and pure lie. TV program tap into Wi-Fi. Snapchat, Instagram, they put drones in the sky. That's why you gotta use your third eye. Hear the Most High, who made the birds them fly. The word, the sound, the powers inside. None of them punk can destroy the tribe, yo. Kendrick Lamar say, don't kill my vibe. Bingy man them down a yard say, earthquake and landslide. Babylon a groom, don't want no bride. Sit up in a room, them a plan and a hide. Babylon cruel, them want fi rule and divide. In a the school, them got the youths hypnotized. Evil and the wicked man, them soon collide. None of them can stop the sweeping tide, yo.